Mr. Muddle by Roger Hargreaves. Poor Mr. Muddle just couldn't get anything right. Everything tried was totally, utterly, completely, utterly muddled. In fact, he was the muddlest person in the world. Just look at him hammering a nail. He's hammering the nail upside down, and the hammer is upside down ways. Oh, Mr. Muddle just couldn't get anything right. Poor Mr. Muddle. Oh, poor Mr. Muddle. He just didn't know what to do about it. In fact, if you were wearing a coat, the coat will be like something like you and I have, but only Mr. Muddle will wear a coat that looks like that. In fact, going for a walk outside, it's like very good. And you walk really nicely, but not Mr. Muddle. His eyes and his mouth are in the wrong direction. And he goes left and right and left and right and left and right. He just couldn't go. He stayed there until night and going left and right and left and right. He'll be stuck out there forever. Eventually, for 3 days, he just goes home rightly. Now, you and I have a house that looks normal. Not Mr. Muddle. Only the Muddle will live in it. You can tell if Mr. Muddle had made that house. Haven't you? It was supposed to be in the country, but he got it muddled up and put it in the seaside. This story begins in his breakfast time. He was just having a nice breakfast. He was until I can tell you what he did to the bread and the cup. He poured the tea onto the toast, but he got the jam right into the plate. And no, he didn't. The jam was supposed to be in a bowl, but he got it muddled up. And he put the sugar into the cup. Oh, Mr. Muddle. He went outside for a walk, but after that, Mr. Muddle went out for a walk. He met George. Good morning, Mr. Muddle said to George. Good morning, said George. But Mr. Muddle just accidentally was going to say again, and then he said, "Good afternoon, George," replied Mr. Muddle. Oh, but it isn't afternoon. It's already morning. The first time you got it right, but now you got it wrong. Oh, you're Mr. Muddle, I bet you are. You want to go fishing? Oh, no, thank you. I hate fishing, replied Mr. Muddle in a muddled sort of way, instead of saying, "Of course, I love fishing." He was supposed to say that to George. Just couldn't get anything right. Help, please, to get the boat out. He got it right that once, and they hopped into the boat. However, eventually, when Mr. Muddle and George were sailing, it was time to go home. Mr. Muddle was going fishing, but he dropped himself in the water. He got a fish after that, and he just did it accidentally. He just made himself fall down into the water. Oh, Mr. Muddle! Oh, Mr. Muddle, said George again. It was good, and George and Mr. Muddle were back, and then it was time. Mr. George said, "How push the boat back to the land?" Mr. Muddle pushed it back into the water. Oh, Mr. Muddle, said George again, when he had an idea, and it was good. Help push the boat back into the sea. Right, said Mr. Muddle, and pushed it back on land. George smiled and grinned. Mr. Muddle went home. He was getting home while he got it a bit muddled up and went out into town. He met George was there rushing about, telling everyone, and he met Mr. Belder. "Can you break this wall for me?" said Mr. Belder. But Mr. Muddle kept making the house instead of breaking it. That's very not muddly, because Mr. Belder had got it muddled, but Mr. Muddle didn't got it muddled up. He didn't. Oh no, not Mr. Muddle. Then he met Mrs. Wasser. She was just closing them. Mrs. Wasser said to Mr. Muddle, "Can you please take all these clips off of these clothes?" "Right," said Mr. Muddle, and just get her a pin and put the rest of it on himself on the clothes. He met Mr. Instructioner. Mr. Instructioner told him to pour all the coal on the ground, but Mr. Muddle kept putting coal into the bag until it was full. In fact, Mr. Muddle was just so muddled up, but he wasn't muddled anymore. He was right. He was not muddled anymore. In fact, he was the right man again. Mr. Muddle was not a muddled man anymore, did he? He tried to not be, but only one afternoon. Oh, Mr. Muddle!